When you think about Tor, you think about a system that has been designed to grant the anonymity of their users. As a consequence of its functionality, users are misusing Tor to trade, for example, stolen accounts or credit cards, or fake passport and guns. More recently, we uncovered malware that use the dark web to hide the command and control server to make their malware infrastructure more resilient to possible takedown. But what about the attacks landscape in Tor? Are there any attacks and in which form? So to uncover this phenomenon, what we did, we simulated cybercriminal installation in Tor by deploying different honeypots that would expose very shadow services, like black markets or underground forums. Like this one is an underground forum that pretend to be a community of trusted peers that exchange very shared informations. Of course, we also expose vulnerabilities to allow the attackers to compromise our infrastructures. So we expose very classic WordPress style vulnerabilities to something more custom like the local file inclusion you see on screen. As soon as we did the deployment, we were very surprised to receive a lot of attacks. But from the first analysis, it turned out these attacks were very basic. They were basically generated by scanners that were looking for very common vulnerabilities like SQL injection of path traversals. The result of this was because of the Tor2Web effect. So Tor2Web basically exposed our hidden service to the surface web, and as a consequence, very common crawlers and scanners that use Google Docs for looking for very common vulnerabilities basically reach out to our machine. So we are not interested in this form of attacks because they are very well known, and there are a lot of studies discussing attacks on the surface web. So we filter this traffic and we only focus on manual attacks within Tor. In the rest of the presentation, I will give you some insights of our finding. So one of the common strategy of attackers in Tor to keep persistency on the compromised machine is to install a web shell. Normally this web shell get password protected or obfuscated to make them more resilient and to make them only available to the attacker. As a second, attacks in Tor were normally driven by the need to have anonymity. So since if I would look for a compromise in Tor, I would do it because I know that Tor would allow me to launch very anonymous attacks. So if I want to run, for example, a spam or a spear phishing campaign against PayPal, like this one you see on screen, Tor and the shell in Tor would be very effective. The same if I would want to run, for example, a denial of service attack, or if we would launch like a scanner for vulnerability, or if we would like to, for example, propagate a malware, but would automatically look for vulnerabilities in an anonymous fashion. Also very interesting is that it seems like there are gangs in Tor that fight against each other in order to compromise services running by opponents. They do it, for example, by defacement of the home page or by defacing specific pages in order to basically steal the traffic and redirect the traffic to their side in order to self-promote their own business. Like this one you see on screen, where you have basically a gang that defaced another gang and include the links pointing to their own service. Also very common is the stealing of the private keys. So private keys play an important role in Tor because allow basically the traffic to be encrypted. So we uncover more than 400 attempts of private key thief to basically hijack and man in the middle traffic in Tor. That's something very severe. So this and other insights into the attacks landscape in the dark web are described in our paper and in the slide that are published at the address you see here on screen. Thanks for listening and have a nice day.